and there goes Peter Flanner already overtaking Andrew Korstecki up the hill. Whoa, in the back there is a slide off. I hope everyone's okay. No, they're not okay. There is some damage in the back of the field. There are people getting through it. No, they are not. That's AJ going through. There goes Eric Rodriguez side by side with Charles Lee. And that Goodwrench livery just ahead of him. Might try to make a move down the inside. Here he goes. And look at Jacob Simmons overtakes 2 of them down the main straight, down the inside on Will Coffey, and he makes that position stick, and he gets ahead. The inside line he goes, he snaps in there, and he makes it stick. Might have spoken too soon, but he's got the defensive line going to the next corner. And he's kept it on. We still don't know anyone else is going to have a better overcut. Whoa, and there goes Peter Flanner through. And look at that. Jacob Simmons is also making the move. Andrew Kirk loses 2 positions. And is this the moment he goes for? It is a start-straight finish. And there he goes, side by side. He's going to make it work. Steve McAllister not defending. And there he goes. Looks like he's going to try to go side by side into this next braking zone and make it stick. There he goes. And we've seen him on the outs of a battle. Nowhere to go. Drivers ahead of him. And Eric Rodriguez holding that position behind. And look at that. Tyler Finley goes through. And now he's going to be battling out Zachary Bright for position. Oh, no, he slots back in. And we are 2 by 2. Patrick Gannon trying to take the lead of the race already, and he goes for it. The top already, and there it was. The move is done. But P14, Eddie Layton in the Mercedes. Oh! Tyler Anderson going for the inside move. Ooh. Plenty of space is given, though. And that allows Tyler Anderson to go through. And Chad Nobles is in through. No, they are still side by side going into the next corner. And wow, they are very close, but still given enough room. But I don't think Angel is done just yet. They are going side by side into the next corner. Anderson wasn't done yet. Anderson retaking that position. And now look at that. Mathis, LePage is getting by. And they are now side by side. Is Mathis going to have this? No, and look at that. Eddie Layton is about to overtake Mathis for this position. This is a heated battle here in the teens here. That's, very close margins, but Eddie Layton overtakes Mathis. Looks like he's going to have to be defending against Timothy Bray. And Timothy Bray on the outside. They still both have room. He goes way off. And Timothy Bray and Peter Flanner are battling it out. And Timothy Bray gets ahead on an outlap as well. Just before the braking zone. Peter Flanner was about half a second. Oh no! Oh no! Move into turn 2. Nope, he's slotted right next to him. Side by side they go. Nicholas Matcham gives him the space, and he goes through. Tyler Finley making the move. So Noah's gonna have to go the long way around. Is he gonna be able to maintain it? They go side by side, and oh, that's perfect. He gets a great exit there from Noah. Or from Andrew Korstecki. They're still side by side as it looks out. No, he's not side by side anymore. And just there in the background, you can see. Oh, they are still side by side. The camera plays tricks, and there he goes. Finally, gets that car right in front, and P. Welcome everybody to the Broken Ring Racing League. This is round 6 here at Daytona International Speedway, presented by ANSE3D. We're going to be kicking off qualifying in just a few moments. Before we get onto that, we have ourselves a couple drivers going a little scrappy right now. We have Diego Freitas, I might have said that wrong. Anderson Bayano behind. Just getting a little racy in practice as the session is coming to an end in about a minute and 30 seconds. Let's see if anyone, oh. Oh, there you have it, Diego. Ah, yikes. Looks like I caught that at the right moment. In practice, you make your mistakes. And, that. C8 Diego, but it's not the right Diego. There we go. Pull that back. We still got 28 seconds left on the clock. Go to little. Ah, look at that. It was just not wide enough on entry into that. Really just going right over the curbing. There's not much you can do at that point. Kind of a victim in this scenario. Let's see how he took that in. Good. Turned in a little too much right there. Yeah, Laws loses the back end. Make things worse. It's no good. And practice is about qualifying. It's just starting. And it looks like Trey Mistack is going to be the first driver out onto the track. Zachary Bryan is just behind him. Trey Mistack is in the top 5 in the Pro Class Championship. Zachary Bryan is actually leading. He's one car back. You can see him right there. He is P1 in the AM Class Championship with Andrew Korostecki. And P2, Tyler Finley. I'm not sure if Tyler Finley has joined us for this race, but he is P3, followed by Eric Rodriguez and Chris Lambeth for the AM class in the top 5. We have Matt Shack sitting in P2 in the Pro Class Championship with Peter Flanner. There's a lot of traffic here on track right now as these drivers are trying to make their way to that first flying lap. Peter Flanner doesn't look like Peter Flanner is joining us as well, and he is P2 in the championship. P1 goes to Elliott Burton, who's sitting in just an immense amount of traffic. He's got Joshua Grosso ahead of him. That's P4 in the championship. Eddie Layton behind by 6/10, 7/10. Ideally, you'd want to give yourself a full second of breather buffer to the other drivers when you're finally going to make your move. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. As we're about to go underway, Trey Mistack, Zachary Bryan, Eric Rodriguez, all drivers who have gone off first and are going to be making the first flying lap now. I wish I had some target data to go over, but I completely missed practice on setting up, I had a difficulty with the graphical interface. I don't know what was happening, but I had to reset, so I didn't get to see what practice looked like. What the times are going to be. Going in blind on the time, the fastest time out should possibly be. Looks like Trey Mistak might be doing a 1:45.1 if he keeps up his pace right now. Predicting there's a couple drivers that might be trying to do 1:44s. But I believe everyone's going to be kind of comfortably. A lot of the pack is in the 1:45s. Oh, a lot of time gained through the bus stop. This Trey Mistak now has a 1:44.5. And he's going to be going across the line. And that's going to be a 1:44.1. Zachary Bryant does a 1:44.9. Eric Rodriguez is a 1:45.6. Matt Shack crosses line, and he goes to P1. Andrew Lewis just behind. Jake Board's going to be split up right now, but it's all up on Elliott Burton, who's sitting in P12 at the moment. He with the slowest out of all these drivers. He had a 1:46.5. He is P1 in the championship, so that has to give you some indicator that he is kind of struggling to that last lap. Maybe he just has a lot of traffic to contend with. We have Matt Shack in P1, Jacob Simmons P2, Reginald Rossi Senguendo in P3, Trey Mistak in 4th, Andrew Lewis in 5th, Eddie Layton in 6th, Chris Chitterling in 7th, Joshua Grosso is in 8th place, Zachary Bryan in 9th, Andrew Korstecki is in P10, Anderson Bayano is P11, Brandon Renfro is 12, Steve McAllister is 13, Eric Rodriguez 14, and Charles Whedon is 15. Elliott Burton went down to P16. He's really got to show a wild lap here. He's qualified in the top 5 for every race so far. I wonder what put him so out of sorts on that. I mean, quite the banker lap. Chad Nobles crosses the line to take P10. Splitting Zachary Bryan and Andrew Korstecki, battling P1 and 2 for the AM Class Championship. Trey Mistak crossing the line again, goes P2, overtaking Jacob Simmons. Zachary Bryant goes across the line to take P8. Justin F. Scott goes P9, dropping Joshua Grosso 2 positions. Joshua Grosso crossing the line, and he goes P1. Elliott Burton finally making a move here. He goes to P3 with that lap, a 1:43.7. Joshua Grosso has a 1:43.4. Only, oh wow, that's only a couple thousandths of a. Oh no! He is not going to be able to improve with that scenario. That's unfortunate. Shaq is exiting the pits again. We have about 3 minutes, 45 seconds left. Definitely enough time to get in an out lap and another timed lap. Dean Kerr crossing line goes to P10. Zachary Bryan is in the pit lane. Andrew Korstecki is out there. If he could get ahead of Zachary Bryan on quali, just keep him behind in his rear view, that's going to be good position, good points for Andrew Korstecki. That's who he's really facing out on track, as well as the rest of the grid. He's just got to be faster than Zachary this race. Austin McGill crosses the line to take P10, dropping Dean Kerr down to P11. We have Luciano Santos crossing the line with a 1:45 even. That's P17 for the driver. We have Marvel Spearman. First I've seen of Marvel Spearman here. P21 for him, going to 1:45.5. Gary Schilling is in P23 right now. It's all down to... Oh, Justin F. Scott crosses the line to go P8, overtaking Chris Chitterling. Elliott Burton on the charge again. It's getting right on the rear of Eddie Layton. Just 1/10 separating these two drivers. That's going to... you can see he's backed off entirely. That's really going to separate him from making any strides there. On board with Justin F. Scott for the moment. Let's take a look and see if someone else on the timing sheets. Eddie Layton, if he can maintain this, going to improve just a little bit. A couple positions will be out of that, but we have Austin McGill in P12. Looks like he's up on his time. It's about 2/10, 3/10, but it's enough to push him across the line and overtake somebody for position. And he goes to P8 for Austin J. McGill. And Matt Shack trying to retake P1 from Joshua Grosso. Elliott Burton still probably on an outlap, so it seems, or he's given himself a little bit of a breather. There's 1 minute and 4 seconds left on qualifying. Anderson Baiano goes across the line, goes to P17, overtaking Andrew Korostecki. Chad Nobles, Steve McNalser on that. Was down on those drivers. We have Richard Sedvra and Diego. Andrew Korostecki crosses the line and overtakes Anderson Baiano for P17. So, tit for tat there. We have Diego and Richard Sedvra. Both drivers have not gone out onto the track just yet. Sean Hamilton and AJ Condola. Diego Freitas also not set a time. Jacob Simmons goes to P4, overtaking Trey Mistek and Andrew Lewis. Colin Luckhurst is in P8. Oh! And I said that too soon. DF Racing of Diego Freitas goes to P5 with a 143.7. Elliott Burton is in the pit lane, so he's not going to improve upon his time. Looks like Jacob Simmons might do so. Chad Nobles crosses the line, goes to P14, overtaking a couple of drivers. And Matt Shack, can he possibly have a go for P1? This is his last attempt. Whoa! That attempt was made and found into a wall. I don't know what to say about that. Jacob Simmons is keeping his foot planted as he is about to cross the line. Oh, he's going into the pit lane, so he's not going to improve upon this time. Is that Charles Whedon, possibly? Andrew Korostecki? No. Noah Hoskinson? Somebody's out there on track making something happen. Oh, that's Diego. Diego finally set a time, and that was P12 for him. So Sean Hamilton and AJ Condola are the only two drivers out of 30 that have not set a time. Here are the race results. Joshua Grosso P1, Matt Shack 2, Elliott Burton is in 3, Jacob Simmons is P4, Diego Freitas is 5, Trey Mistek is 6, Andrew Lewis is 7, Reginald Rossi Segundo. The second is P8, Colin Luckhurst P9, Austin J. McGill in 10, Justin F. Scott in 11, Diego Ear in P12, Chris Schitterling in P13, Eddie Layton in 14, Chad Nobles in 15, Dean Kerr in 16, Luciano Santos in 17, Zachary Bryan in 18, Charles Reed in 19, Andrew Korostecki in 20, Anderson Baiano in 21, Steve McAllister in 22, and Brandon Renfro in 23. Noah Hoskinson is in P24. Richard Severas in P25. He did set a time. Andrew, Eric Rodriguez in P26, and Marvel Spearman 27, Gary Schilling in 28, AJ Gondola in 29, and Sean Hamilton in 30. I'm going to take a second on that one. Having some technical difficulties. Well, I hope those come back. I think maybe... Oh, there we go. It's pace car. That was startling. And we're going to be going underway in just 10 seconds. Looks like everybody's on the grid besides a couple. Hopefully they pop in shortly. It's Marvel Spearman, new driver added to the roster for this race, as well as Luciano Santos. I think it's new. It might be not new. But here we go. Joshua Grosso sitting P4 in the championship right now for the pro class, and he is looking strong. Sitting P1 in qualifying. He just has to keep this in front of Matt Shack for a while. We know he's a strong contender on pace, as is Matt Shack, but you can't knock Jacob Simmons and Elliott Burton and Diego. They are also pretty strong drivers, as well as Trey Mistak. Everybody is great. Everybody in this entire grid is great, but you're going to see some very strong pace out of the top 5 like we have the last couple races. We are about to go underway as Joshua Grosso take us up as soon as the pace car goes in.
Green, green, green.
And already Matt Shack slots off to defend against Elliott Burton. Jacob Simmons sitting there comfortably in P4. Trey Mistak goes wide. Kind of opens up the door for Reginald there. Oh. So they go side by side. That's Colin Luckhurst and Reginald. And a couple of battles happening in the back there. Oh! Yikes! And Austin McGill is... What is happening? Where is this driver? Oh, no. He went completely out of the infield and into a barrier. Chris Chitterling is up to P12 over Justin F. Scott and Eddie Layton. They're going to be battling that out there. These drivers in the back, the top of the grid have not changed places. P1 through 7 is all the same. Goes Noah Hodgkinson overtaking Steve McAllister for P23. And the top 8 are all just in a straight line here. Looks like Elliott Burton is going to get really close here to Matt Schack. What? Joshua Grosso just goes into the wall. What is happening? I'm just going to pull that back for just a second. He's on throttle and his wheel is completely cocked to the left. You can see that there's absolutely technical malfunction must have been happening there. We have Andrew Korostecki sitting in P19, P20 actually, as Richard Sever has overtaken him for that position. That's 2 positions gained for Richard Sedra. But not only that, this makes it all the more challenging as just ahead in that white and red livery, Zachary Bryant. Those 2 drivers are facing each other right now. Andrew Korostecki is P2 in the AM Class Championship. He's really got to push to get ahead of Richard, get ahead of Anderson, get ahead of Charles, and bring the fight back to Zachary Bryant, who's sitting comfortably in P15, only having to worry about Dean Kerr and Chad Nobles ahead of him. And here goes Diego Freitas on the outside of Jacob Simmons. Is it going to be enough going into turn 1? Gives him plenty of room. Oh, and Elliott Burton spins! And he's going to go tumbling down the order. The P1 in the championship in Pro Class has just made a fatal error into turn 1. And that's going to cost him major points against Matt Schack, who's now sitting comfortably in P1. Jacob Simmons promoted to P2. Diego promoted to P3. Trey Mistack is P4 now. A lot of things have been happening so far on track. It's difficult to keep up. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe Diego this is the first time we're seeing him enter the league race. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Not sure, we haven't seen him drive before, so is he going to be a little aggressive? He's going to try to go for some overtakes in some interesting areas, I would say, interesting. But no, it looks like he is just being completely committed to what he's doing, but not making any mistakes so far. Mistakes that other drivers have made. And there's Dean Kerr. Oh no. Speaking of mistakes, and one occurs. There's Elliott Burton. And then there they go. And we've seen it before. We saw it in practice, and that is enough. And it looks like he is safe to continue. It's Andrew Korostecki just ahead of Richard Sever. He's finally made the move happen. And there's Anderson Baiano. Oh, as he goes really wide there. Is that enough? And there goes... Oh. That's Richard Sedra in the OnlyFans livery. And Anderson Baiano in that... orange BMW, 2 BMWs ahead of him. I mean, Andrew Korostecki was looking at it comfortably, just pushed along ahead of these 2 drivers, now having to battle them out again, make those overtakes again. You hate to see it. When it rains, it pours when people are getting overtaken, and one mistake is enough, and we can see that mistake there, as there's a driver, Charles Whedon, who went into the infield, and now he's stuck trying to get his tires back together. Oh, and there's Luciano Santos up there at the top of the line, also having to contend with a mistake he made. And he goes down 3 positions, as well as Charles Whedon having to make something happen here with these 4 drivers all kind of in a flurry as they go too wide through that. Wow. Oh, and I spoke too soon. As they entered easily. Oh, and he just washed up into Andrew Korstecki. Yeah, you hope he's doing good. He's going to get back on track. And he looks to be unfazed by that. Let's hope that he can keep that together. As we have Andrew Lewis just making a move on 2 drivers. Goes to P17. That's Steve McAllister and Brandon Renfro. Steve McAllister's in the blue. And Brandon is in that purple-white. And we have Marvel Spearman. Marvel Spearman started P27. Started last in the race. And he's P20. It just goes to show you just keeping some pace. Consistency matters. As the guy in last place is now 7 positions up with Austin McGill in P24. Jacob Simmons has caught Matt Schack. They are now separated by 1/10 going into the bus stop. And it really just goes to show you the difference in these cars. It's Jacob Simmons had Diego trying to make a move on the outside, was able to actually get alongside him, but in the draft, he's still not able to really reel in Matt Schack. It's in these corners that he's really just finding the time. We have Reginald Rossi Sanguendo second, is in P6 at the moment, overtakes Diego. Oh, spoke too soon. Diego just gets ahead of him. Into that braking zone they went, and there you have it. Reginald losing a position to Diego. But I wouldn't count out Reginaldo? I think it's Ronaldo. Oh, Luckhurst have a watermelon helmet? I think that's what I'm seeing there. As he is sitting P5 from P9 on the grid. Now these drivers are separated by less than half a second altogether. That really goes to show you Matt Schack is 3/10 up on Diego Freitas in P3. Jacob Simmons 1/10, 2/10 difference. Oh, that's unfortunate. And news to take away is that Joshua Grosso's wheel disconnected from him. That's truly unfortunate, as we had a long race ahead. That's not great. Ooh, look at that move. Andrew Lewis making a send on Richard Sedra. takes the position, goes to P15. It is a mechanical failure. It's not on you. You had a great run. Ooh! And a lot of people have been just spinning up that rear, and it has cost them dearly. And that little spin is going to take him back down to P23 as he's going to have to try to make up some positions. Luciano Santos going wide again. I've seen him do this prior. I mean, it might be part of his line, but there goes Andrew Korostecki overtaking for position as Noah Hodgkinson in that teal livery. His teammate out of the race from P1 for mechanical failure. Andrew Korostecki and Zachary Bryant are in just different sectors right now. We can clearly see Zachary Bryant's going to take P1 in the AM championship points here. And you're going to have to hope for a blessing here, as not much is going to change. Looks like Chris Chitterling's going to try to have a go at Reginaldo, and he goes down to the inside line and overtakes for P7. And is that it? Is it all said and done for Ronaldo here? Reginaldo. It's hard to say some names sometimes. And for the time being, I think he might have just called it here. And now this pack is forming a little bit tighter as Marvel Spearman now has Andrew Korostecki 2/10 away. He's going to the inside, and it looks like he has him. In the background, Noah Hodgkinson also has Luciano Santos. That's a double overtake into the banking. And is anyone going to fight back here? That's the real question. Is Luciano Santos... Andrew Korostecki slots in, and this little pack is still going to stick together a little bit. And is Noah Hodgkinson going to get ahead of Marvel Spearman, the driver who's been consistent? His pace is a 1:45.7 last lap. His best lap was a 1:45.7. Oh no, his last lap was a 1:46 even. 3/10 off his best lap. Ooh, you can see the back end rear is just getting a little squirrely for Noah. They are last lap, they are separated by 9/10. It's definitely some pace out of Noah Hodgkinson to get ahead of Marvel Spearman here. But where will he do it? And he goes a little bit wider on exit, but oh, I don't think your car is supposed to look like that in the front. Some early damage. And there he goes down the inside line in the bus stop. He takes him. Luciano Santos. Oh, whoa, whoa, no. And that is both drivers of Narwhal Racing down and out of this race. Difficult to swallow for those team points. And just on exit, we've seen it out of so many drivers. That is unfortunate. Justin F. Scott overtakes car 69 in car... can't tell. Zachary Bryant's in the background there. Ooh. Car 27 is Zachary Bryant, goes ahead. Is that Chad Nobles? Car 67 in P11, Zachary Bryant in P12, Justin F. Scott in P13. Quite a mix-up. He was P11, but just down a couple positions. It's unfortunate. Charles Whedon so far has been able to keep Richard Severa at bay. Ooh. Or is that not just... Who? What was that? They're going to pull that back slightly. I thought they were battling car number 14. Get a little out of the way action, and down the order, Charles Whedon goes to P22. I hate to see it, folks. You really hate to see it. Goes Eric Rodriguez through on Richard Severa, as well as Brandon Renfro is going to try to have a go at him as well. Makes him move. Richard Severa made an error into turn 1. Almost looks like he was about to get a little too close here to Brandon Renfro. Car number 818. He gets through, though. Hopping on board with Elliott Burton, who's sitting P1 in the Pro Championship, down in P10. A grave error in the infield left him waiting. He has to crawl his way through the order again. Here's Eddie Layton, also in the Pro class. This is a battle for position as well as in the championship. Eddie Layton holding his own here. In terms of pace, Elliott Burton did a 143.8 last lap, and Eddie Layton did a 144.8. A full second difference here. And that actually was the fastest lap of the race, or of Elliott Burton's race. That last lap that he did, as he goes across the line, doesn't really improve on that, but still overtaking Eddie Layton. And as always, at the top of the screen there is the order in the race, as well as the last lap for the driver, what car they're driving by manufacturer. And if you see the green on the last lap, that means it's an improvement upon their latest lap, as well as purple is the fastest lap. I'm not sure who has the fastest lap. It might well be Elliott Burton. I think it is Elliott Burton. He did a 143.8. Jacob Simmons done a 144 even. That's as close as it gets. And we've just seen the ebb and flow of these three drivers in the top three, separated by half a second. Jacob Simmons just 1/10 off of Matt Shack, currently in P1. And if you can see that, that's twitch.tv/Jacob_Simmons5. If you want to go check out Jacob Simmons. I believe he's probably streaming the race right now alongside us. That's more than likely he's streaming the race. Definitely go and check out his page. We have Colin Luckers in P5. Trey Mistack hasn't changed positions at the start of this race. He's really just keeping in those... I mean, he's gained some positions from the errors of others, but no one's made any moves against him, and he hasn't made any moves against anyone else. He's just sitting comfortably in P4. Diego's ahead of him by a couple seconds. Colin Luckers has to contend with Diego Iyer. Gonna be one of these days I'm gonna get it, but the driver we're on board with, 4/10 off of Colin Luckers. And Jacob Simmons has been in this position before. He's going through it again, lap after lap. We're on lap 13 out of 25, 26-ish. And just 1/10 separating these two drivers. And yet nothing changes. Trey Mistack is going into the pit lane. First driver out of the top 10, out of the top of the entire grid that has made the move to switch. So he's going to be in the pit lane. See how long this takes him. It's just fuel, as he'll lose dozens of positions, but that's to be expected. He is still in his box. That's 15 seconds, 16. All right. That's a 19.4 out of Trey Mistack. Diego is just behind. He did it 18.7. Different fuel strategies for sure. Yeah, the camera on before the bus up on the straight is just no bueno. Just use the back of an ad billboard. And Chris Chitterling has done a 1:43.4. That is the fastest driver on the track right now. Wow. Oh, fakes like he's going to go in the pit lane. It's an interesting strategy. And more drivers going in. Elliot Burton staying out. He's going to have to go for the overcut. He knows that as much. Not much he can do. Loud bird noises. Because everybody into the... Eric Rodriguez making a move going into the pit lane. And it's going to be a little bit of a shakeup as people are making moves left and right. Trey Mistack goes up to P10 so far with Charles Whedon behind. Charles Whedon has not stopped yet, so this isn't beneficial for him. Definitely want to make that move shortly. That's Colin Luckhurst, who was just behind Trey Mistack in the pits, or during the race before. And Diego was just behind Colin Luckhurst. So the undercut that Diego was trying to make did not work against Colin Luckhurst. Chris Chitterling now joins the battle, though. And he's also stopped. He was a little bit further off from Diego before this all happened, so... it's really a battle to the box. The most handsome sim racer. World's most handsome sim racer. I need to see some documentation on that one. I don't know if I can just trust his opinion on this, as we are going to see the sensational box for about 18 seconds, and there's Elliott Burton also going in. That was the overcut he was trying to go for. And who will come out on top? Is it Jacob Simmons? Ooh, he wasn't even in his box. That's unfortunate. Okay, he goes ahead. And Matt Shack is ahead. Oh! Diego in P1. And look at that. That is, Diego gets ahead right there. And then they're almost come touching. And now they're just in each other's cars. That's insane. But there you go. The driver in P1. Yeah, he was in his box for 14.9 seconds. Matt Shack was in for 15.9, and Jacob Simmons was in for 17.1. Just a massive difference in what these drivers are trying to accomplish here. This is all fuel, mind you. So Diego's, while this is his first race for Broken Wing Racing League, this could be a major upset by pit strategy on fuel. If he gets away with this, I will be wholeheartedly impressed. That is quite the daring move, just to maybe not have enough crossing the line for the final lap. You're really playing with fire. We don't know what his fuel looks like. Chris Chitterling keeping it very cautious as he goes to the bus stop. He's separated by Diego by 3/10. It looks like they've been battling it out for a couple of laps now. And he's not going to be able to make the move. And Richard Sadver on his out lap here. There's Eric Rodriguez ahead for position P14. Like they were a lot closer. Oh, look at this. Dean Kerr. He still has not gone. Well, his stint is 13. He was one of the drivers that pit early, like really early. He had some damage, so I don't know if he actually has enough fuel for the rest of this race, but I guess we'll see what ends up happening for him as he's going long for the rest of this race. And there's Colin Luckhurst, who's now only separated by 6/10 off of Trey Mistack. Mind you, Trey had a much more comfortable race in P4. He had a couple seconds off, and which he still does. He's 3.2 seconds off of P3, Jacob Simmons. But also, before this pit stops, Colin Luckhurst was 2.6 seconds down from Trey Mistack. So now he's really going to have to worry about being pressured from the driver who's sitting behind. And look at him going into this braking zone, getting awfully close. Not close enough, I would say, to scare him, at least. And then there's Chris Chitterling. Look at him. He's all on the back here. Oh. That's up. There we go. As they're about to be they're still side by side. And into the next zone I go. Is Diego good? Oh, Diego gets ahead of him, and he's going to be able to defend. And four drivers in the top 10 are getting awfully racy right now. It's P4 and P5 just ahead, with Diego in P6 and Chris Chitterling in P7, who we're on board with, battling it out. Looks like Diego's going to have to defend. Staying really towards the middle, but now he's going for the ideal line into the bus stop. Yeah, this battle still, while intense as it is, still nothing happening there. We're up on board. Dean Kerr finally goes in the pits. I guess he didn't have enough fuel for the end of this race. Eric Rodriguez, though, he's 3/10 off of Richard Sedford. Richard makes his way through. I believe that was last lap they went for position. And his teammate, Andrew Korostecki, just behind in P16. Zachary Bryant, however, Chad Noble's just ahead. Ooh. There we go. It's finally happening. Chris Chitterling is on the outside and goes through and overtakes Diego for position there. Just there's a difference on how the exit occurred. Definitely has a nice run on that high line there. And just gets it. Makes the move on through the banking. It worked. Diego's in P1 right now. And we're a little behind, but all with purpose here. And where does the move happen? Look at the run Matt has. He goes to the outside. He slots ahead of Diego. Staying outside on the braking, still goes through and makes the move for P1. And there you have it. What a move. It almost looked like it came out of nowhere. Because it really did. And Diego, sitting in P7, not able to come back at Chris Chitterling in the last couple of laps here. And the other Diego Freitas in P2. I wonder if he's going to make something happen. There's about 6 laps left to go. He's got to be worried about fuel. Jacob Simmons is behind by 3/10 as well. He really undercut on fuel to make that move that he did against Matt Shack in the pit lane. Be curious to see how this all unfolds for the driver at the end of this race. And Andrew Korostecki off of Justin F. Scott for P15. Separated by nothing. They are going across the line into turn 1. Is he going to have this move down? Whoa! And it's camps like that you really going to see. Justin F. Scott did not have braking down for turn 1. And Andrew Korostecki says, I'll take that. Goes ahead. His teammate Eric Rodriguez just ahead. I believe they would be a lot more fair to each other. No sense in team orders here. But Eric Rodriguez has been on the back of Richard Severa for the last 4 or 5 laps now, and not much has changed. Maybe he'll let Andrew Korostecki by to see if he can't make a move. Get him to battle. Lose some time. Get the teammate through. And back on board with the top 3 drivers. Jacob Simmons in P3. He's separated by 1/10 now off of P2 of Diego Freitas. And Jacob Simmons in the BMW with 2 Porsches ahead of him. I think his best shot is straight line speed, but possibly in the baking, but gotta get a good exit out of those next couple corners here for that to happen. It's really stepping away through the infield. Maybe not his strongest sector. Quite possibly not, but I mean, he's doing 143.9s. He's 2/10 faster than these drivers, albeit he is getting the draft off of them going through the banking. Sounded like he kind of slowed well before the other two. And going back just a few seconds, we have Elliot Burton getting a good run off the outside here against Eddie Layton, finally making the move. It's been a long time coming for these two drivers because they have been neck and neck for a while. And there goes Elliot Burton into P9. Eddie Layton just behind him. I think giving a strong defense there, as Elliott has been behind him for much of this race after he tumbled down the order. It's going to be a little bit of time, 3.4 seconds to get to Reginaldo Rossi Segundo II. And stepped off. He's got a 6-second gap to the driver in P7 ahead of him with 3.5 behind. It's quite the difficult margins there. As here goes Diego. Is this finally going to be another move that's happening? He's got the inside line. And there he goes. With a couple laps left to go. Is he going to overtake Matt Shack? He does so far. Is wondering if he can stick it. And so far, so good. Through the bus up he goes. The difficult part was holding my breath. You've seen so many drivers make some mistakes on exit and end up in the wall. But Diego Freitas has not done that of DF Racing. What a move. And Matt Shack down one position. Jacob Simmons not able to pick up the scraps on that fight. It was so clean. We got 3 minutes and 56 seconds remaining here. Andrew Lewis. Oh no, what happened to him? He was P16 at the time. I've made that move. I've definitely made that move before. Oh, his car needs to go to the pits. That's a full tow. That's unfortunate. So little left in the race, and that's all that amounts. I believe these cars are going to get sent by one more time. Actually, 2 more times. Possibly. Look at this. You can't even see Diego because Jacob Simmons is literally on the bumper of Matt Shack. And once he exits that draft, he's just got nothing. Oh, he goes to the inside. He's making the move. Matt Shack goes down 1 more position. Wow. Jacob Simmons, what a move. Fakes to the inside. Wow. I don't think you could have. I don't think we could have guessed that. And presumably we have 2 more. Yeah, 2 full laps of racing left there. I mean, lap and a half. It looks like they crossed the line, but we did not see whether or not that was going to be an issue there. As Anderson Baiano and P22. Hopefully he doesn't make this too difficult. You don't want to get bogged up by lap traffic, and there he goes. Lets him by. He goes through the bus stop, though. That's going to make it difficult for Jacob Simmons a little bit. It's 2 BMWs. And just look at that. Just exiting the draft just slightly just does nothing for you. And there he goes for the move again. Goes to the inside. Matt Shack also gets through. Trey Mistack trying to make his way through. And a little bit of lap traffic might cause something. Oh, is Colin Luckhurst is also trying to make his way through. Does so, but that was still something. This is the final lap, folks. I believe it's the final lap. Somebody crossing the line here. See, definitely can't see it, but just hope. I think it's the final lap. I'm pretty sure it's the final lap. And can Matt Shack do anything here? He was hoping to get a P1. That's a massive amount of points to fight back at Elliott Burton for P1 in the championship. He's down by several hundred points. I think 400 points off of Elliott Burton, who's sitting P1 in the championship. Elliott Burton is P9. It doesn't look like he's going to improve upon his time at all. Although he's chunked that 3.4 second gap down to a 1.4 second gap, so 2 seconds, but not enough for the end of this race. So both drivers in the Pro Class Championship not maximizing points tonight. But equally, that's going to be good for Elliott. And look at the run he gets across the line. And that is it, folks. We have Diego Freitas, who takes P1 at Daytona International Speedway. Jacob Simmons in P2. Matt Shack P3. Trey Mistack in P4. Colin Luckhurst in P5. Chris Chitterling in P6. Diego Ear in P7. Reginald Joe Rossi Sanguendo is P8. Elliott Burton is P9. Eddie Layton is 10. Chad Nobles is in going to be crossing the line in P11 here. No one is surrounding him. He's good to go. Zachary Bryant, P1 in the AM Class Championship for the GT3 series. He goes P1 there for his P12, but P1 in the AM Class. Richard Severa is going to take P13. Austin McGill will take P14. Eric Rodriguez crossing the line for 15. Justin F. Scott, Andrew Gorsecki, P16 and 17. I'm not even sure who won that one. That was a battle right across the line. Brandon Renfro is going to take P18. Charles Whedon taking 19. Marvel Spearman is 20. Dean Kerr, 21. Anderson Bayano is 22. Steve McAllister is 23. Andrew Lewis is 24. Luciano Santos is 25. Noah Hoskins is 26. Gary Schilling is 27. Joshua Grosso is 28. Andrew Kowarstecki, I'm actually going to go look real quick and see whether or not that was who had that one. Across the line. Oh, you blink and you miss it. Oh no, I forget. Is it this one? Oh, wow. The finest of margins. Andrew Kowarstecki takes P16 across the line. What a beautiful shot to end this one. Congratulations, Diego. DF Anderson Bayano. Yeah, nice job, guys. Thanks, Travis, for the top tier commentating. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time for round 7 next week on Sunday. What a fantastic finish. Great job by Andrew Kowarstecki for maximizing this spot for him getting P16 at the end on Justin F. Scott. That's it for us. See you next week, and have a good one.